Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio. Uniting humankind with universal love is the slogan of Dream Vision 7 Radio, but we always come up with a new slogan, or at least I do, for the radio show. And this week, our slogan is uniting you with Dr. Carolyn Dean's wisdom. That's right. Welcome to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. I'm Ginny Sanders, your co-host this evening for the next 2 hours of rocking awesome fun with Dr. Dean. And I'll tell you, she's just one of the most alive, animated, joyful women I've ever had the experience of working with or knowing. And you know, her joy comes from her confidence, and her confidence comes from her experience. And her experience is over 50 years of serving in the natural and medical community as a doctor, as an MD, as an ND, as an herbalist, as a nutritionist, as an acupuncturist, as a master of many modalities that help people recover their health, vitality, and their well-being, keeping them in alignment, keeping them physically aligned, mentally aligned, and keeping the body vibrant and moving forward in confidence, in joy, and in creativity, and in health. And she's going to join us tonight, and she's going to share with you her wisdom of not only what she's done with her books, having been the author of The Magnesium Miracle, over 101 Kindle books, 17 free, almost 18 now, free ebooks for the consumers and the listeners of our audience that can be found at drcarolyndeanlive.com, our radio show website. Her Kindle books, her books that are available on Amazon, the books that are out of print that people still write us and ask us for on a weekly basis that contain all of her wisdom. So not only as an author, and not only as a doctor, and not only as an expert, but also as one who is so solution driven, so solution oriented, she created her own formulations just to meet the needs of individuals who are wanting to experience the health, vitality, and well-being that she knows so well can be yours. Before I bring her on tonight, I am just going to say that she is here with us, and she is not going to be giving medical advice on her radio show because that would be a big no-no. But what she is going to do is she is going to talk with you about the things that she would do if she were in your case. So yes, we're going to be taking your calls. This is a live radio show, call-in radio show. We take your calls at 646-558-8656, along with the ID that's featured in our emails on the screen on here at Dream Vision 7 and also on the screen at YouTube. That ID number is there for you. You hit *9 to press when you get into the phone call to press to raise your hand in the studio. Let us know you have a question or comment. And we also take your emails and we take your chat, so you can ask questions as you hear Dr. Dean talking about something through the show. We take your chats through our chat line, both on YouTube and both on the live radio station. So we've got lots of ways to communicate. And if you're listening to the archive, you can send us questions after the show. We're going to tell you how to do that too. So first and foremost, let me introduce the most glorious one, the most wonderful one, and the one that's full of wisdom and joy and all kinds of great information for you this evening, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
There's my cue, not only Ginny's amazing introduction, but the children are in agreement that we are going to have an awesome show. So thank you, Ginny. We got a lot to talk about today. So just the highlights of the announcements, use our subscription service to order your monthly products. It makes it easier on everybody. Refer your practitioner. Ask yourself, what if your doctor knew about REMAG years before you found it? What if you could go to your doctor and be told to take REMAG at the beginning of your symptoms? So think how you can be helping other people by telling your practitioner. And we'll send your practitioner a practitioner kit. Use the referral candy. Everybody gets 15% discount. And seriously, get your blood testing done through the home blood test kit. You can do it at home. You don't have to go out and be exposed to anything. You just register at our website, and it ends up that the first test is completely free because you get products in coupons, and you find out what your vitamin D is, so you know how much of our D3 K2 reset to take. It's very important. You know if you're getting enough magnesium. You know your TSH thyroid test, and you know about your omega-3 fatty acids. Our magnesium deficiency survey, we're continuing that. We're coming up to a full year of doing this, and maybe we'll hit 100,000 people who've taken the test by the end of this year. And it doesn't waver in telling us how much anxiety, insomnia, cramps, heart palpitations, restless legs, headaches, and migraines people have, from 40 to 70% on all those symptoms, and they're all related to magnesium deficiency. Ginny told you about the free ebooks at drcarolyndeanlive.com. On that page with the books, or maybe it's on our homepage, we talk about our first paper in the journal Nutrients, peer-reviewed paper, peer-reviewed journal, peer-reviewed paper on circulating ionized magnesium as a measure of supplement bioavailability, where we've studied the absorption and the size of REMAG. And today's blog, this is about nerve pain, very, very important, because nobody knows what to do when they have really, a symptom of nerve pain. What do you do for it? Unfortunately, allopathic treatment is opioids and an addictive drug called gabapentin. So we want to talk about what causes nerve pain and what I would do if I had nerve pain. So the blog, which has come to you already on an email, it's in social media, or you can go to the website, the Dr. Carolyn Dean Live website, and that's near the top of the page. Magnesium and nerve pain. The impulse for any and all movement in the body arises from electrical transmissions. These microcurrents of electricity that pass along the nerves were first measured in 1966. That's not that long ago. Scientists soon discovered that the conductor for these bodily electrical currents is calcium, and that magnesium is essential to maintain the proper level of calcium in the blood and cells. And just a sidebar here, if magnesium isn't allowed to balance the calcium, which means magnesium actually pulls calcium out of cells when calcium has charged up and created a signal in the nerves or a movement in the muscles, magnesium pulls it out. If calcium stays in the cells, then you get rapid and continuous firing of either muscles and or nerves, which means muscle cramps and nerve firing, causing nerve pain, numbness, tingling, etc. It's that simple. It's that basic. So magnesium and calcium are positively charged, but when they contact negatively charged particles, they form an electric current. The fatty acids in the nerve tissue are negatively charged, which is why magnesium levels must constantly be renewed in order to retain a proper nerve current. And sidebar, it's also why we need to eat healthy fats to maintain proper nerve conduction. When calcium is not properly balanced by magnesium, as I said, a calcium overload can occur. And this calcium overload is one of the main causes of nerve pain and inflammation within the body. So tonight we're going to talk about the role of calcium and other antagonists like fluoride and sugar and how they play a role in nerve pain. And just basically how to neutralize calcium with magnesium. You stop eating so much sugar to dramatically reduce your levels of inflammation. The FDA and drug companies are aware of the importance of treating inflammation, but regrettably, they're using drugs with all their side effects as the primary treatment instead of recommending magnesium. Even worse, anti-inflammatory steroids and many non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are often fluoride compounds, which means the fluoride binds up magnesium. Hence, treating inflammation with ineffective and unsafe drugs inevitably causing more inflammation. And the worst seems to be gabapentin, which besides having many side effects, seems to be addictive. Fortunately, clinical experience and research in nerve pain conditions show that magnesium can be an effective treatment for nerve pain. The interaction of magnesium with calcium causes muscles to relax and nerves to fire properly. Beyond that, it's possible for magnesium supplements to promote something as dramatic as sciatic nerve regeneration and decrease inflammatory responses. One study that's pointed out in the blog is that magnesium-rich diets enhance nerve regeneration and improve neurological recovery in mice with sciatic nerve injuries. Now, you may know from my writing that it's pretty hard to get your magnesium from the diet anymore, and that's why we talk a lot about REMAG. A therapeutic level of REMAG, which we call a saturation level, can be used to get a substantial and beneficial amount of magnesium in the body to settle down your muscles and nerves. Not only does magnesium help calm both the nervous system and your muscles, helping to ease nerve-related pain and restless legs, but it can also ease anxiety and promote better sleep, which can be hugely beneficial for those whose muscle or nerve pain makes sleep difficult. Now, the causes of neuropathy are many and multiple. You can start with spinal misalignment or hip, knee, and ankle misalignment. And I would suggest a good chiropractor and or a myofascial massage therapist, or the use of EGOSCU, EGOSCUE, a therapist or an EGOSCU tower to help you gain spinal alignment. Edema can be a cause, and that arises because edema in the soft tissues, in the ankles, feet, and even in the hands, which can irritate the nerves. That can be due to not having enough minerals in your cells to pull the water away from the peripheral tissues. So what's the treatment that I do? I take REMAG, Remite, and sea salted water to get those minerals into your cells. Number 3, obesity. The treatment is a ketogenic diet, and our formulas, our complement formulas. You can look at my book about weight loss. I forget what it's called right now, but it's one of the 17 free ebooks at carolyndeanlive.com. Number 4, diabetes. What's the treatment? Stop sugar. Take REMAG and the complement formulas. There's also a book on diabetes at carolyndeanlive.com. High blood pressure can cause neuropathy. Treatment for high blood pressure that I use, what I would use if I had high blood pressure, REMAG. Medications can cause the irritation of nerves and neuropathy. I would treat with the complement formulas because so much of the need for medications can be from having diseases that are misdiagnosed as diseases but are really magnesium deficiency, B vitamin deficiencies, or yeast overgrowth. Autoimmune disease is another cause of neuropathy. What would I do? I'd use Remag and yeast management with Flora Revive and Pico Silver, and that's all written up in my yeast book. Kidney disease and a buildup of urea, which is a product of protein metabolism that is supposed to be cleared by the kidneys. If the kidneys are weakened and aren't filtering properly, you'll build up urea, which then can deposit in especially in the toes and feet. So what I would use is Remag to help with renal artery calcification, which can be the underlying cause of weakness of the kidneys and poor filtration. Another cause, number 9, heavy metals and chemicals. And what I take daily is Realign as a detoxifier and detoxifying heavy metals and Remag. Chronic alcoholism can cause neuropathy, we know for sure. And it does that because it depletes your B vitamins, and Bs are essential in the proper functioning of the nervous system and are deficient in alcoholism. I would be using Realign as well as stop drinking alcohol. And what we know about the complement formulas is when you start taking them, you drop your cravings because you're looking for sugars and you're looking for anything that will help you get your nutrients and make you feel good. And when you take the complement formulas, you feel good and you don't have to go to addictive substances. Same with smoking. People seem to lose their craving for smoking when they take our formulas. Carpal tunnel, you can get carpal tunnel syndrome, which is edema of the wrists, where the tendons and the bands in the wrists tighten up with fluid or inflammation, and they can be from overuse, typing in the wrong position, for example. What I would do is our B vitamins in Realign and Remag. Idiopathic neuropathy, now they just throw that in because idiopathic means they don't know what's causing it. And they just say it's common in individuals over 60 years of age, no known cause. But I say it's magnesium deficiency and calcium excess until proven otherwise, which means I would be taking Remag and call it a day. And the last one, number 13, allopathic medicine only admits to a vitamin B12 deficiency as a possible cause of neuropathy. But it can be all the Bs, and it can be magnesium deficiency and calcium excess. So, it's almost like I'm writing a new book here, Ginny. In the Magnesium Miracle, I talk about the neuropathies due to excess calcium or calcification, number 32 in the 65 conditions that may be due to magnesium deficiency. So insufficient magnesium and the relative excess of calcium will cause sustained nerve excitation in any nerve cells in the body. Magnesium alleviates the following nerve disturbances that can occur that cause burning pain, muscle weakness, numbness, paralysis, pins and needles, seizures and convulsions, skin sensitivity, tingling, twitching, vertigo, and confusion. Unabsorbed calcium precipitates in tissues, causing kidney stones, gallstones, hill spurs, breast tissue calcification, as well as coronary artery disease. And calcification in soft tissues pressing up against nerves will cause nerve pain. Inflammation itself is a potent initiator of calcification, which to me means that when you're deficient in magnesium, your extra calcium will deposit in arteries and other tissues. Researchers never mention that the major cause of inflammation in the body is magnesium deficiency in the face of calcium excess. So all that was from the magnesium miracle. And then we go to fluoride as a cause of neuropathy. In one of my blogs and in the Magnesium Miracle, I have a list called Magnesium Makes Me Worse. And number 14 is you're taking a drug that contains fluoride. And then, I refer people to chapter 2 in the book to understand why you may be susceptible to magnesium deficiency caused by medically prescribed drugs, fluoride treatments from your dentist, fluoride toothpaste, or fluoridated drinking water. And this is because fluoride ions seek out magnesium and bind with these ions, making magnesium unavailable to the body and unavailable to do its work. The magnesium fluoride compound produced is called Sellaite, Sellaite, and it's an MgF2 magnesium fluoride compound. It's pretty insoluble and ends up taking the place of magnesium in hard tissues like bone and in semi-hard tissues like tendon and cartilage and in soft tissue. Its brittleness makes the bone susceptible to fractures and tendons to rupture. An FDA black box warning on a fluoride drug called Cipro is for tendon rupture. The magnesium fluoride bond is so tight that magnesium is irrevocably lost to the body, interfering with 1,000 enzyme systems and 80% of known metabolic function. Researchers may argue that the test tube studies where fluoride drugs don't appear to release their fluoride compound. However, anyone familiar with the Gut Microbiome Project knows that the trillions of microorganisms in the gut can make short work of drugs that reach the intestines by completely dismantling them into their individual components. On a website called Fluoride Toxicity Research Collaborative, you can click on 14 common classes of drugs that contain fluoride to see the lists of specific drugs. There's no listing there for antiarrhythmia drugs, yet my least favorite antiarrhythmia drug is flecainide with 6 fluoride molecules. How ironic that a drug that is supposed to suppress arrhythmia may actually be destroying your magnesium, which can only make your arrhythmia worse. The side effects of flecainide read like the poster child of magnesium deficiency in the heart: fast, irregular pounding or racing heartbeat, lungs, shortness of breath, tightness in the chest, wheezing, nerves, burning, crawling, itching, numbness, prickling, pins and needles, tingling feelings, and chest pain. Patients with neuralgia are given pain medications like opioids and anti-inflammatories. They're also prescribed drugs like gabapentin, which is FDA approved for the lingering pain of shingles. Perhaps it works for some people, but I receive emails and calls when the drugs aren't working and these people want to wean off these drugs and find something that does work for their pain. It's also being given to people who have magnesium deficient nerve pain. So then I looked up gabapentin for the umpteenth time, and it's quite incredible. I mean, if a person was prescribed gabapentin and they looked it up online, I don't know how many people would continue to take it. It's an analog of GABA aminobutyric acid. GABA is a neurotransmitter that slows down the activity of nerve cells in the brain. So this means that gabapentin has a similar structure and is made up of similar chemicals to GABA, although its effect on the body is not the same. The scientists who developed it were deliberately trying to mimic GABA. It's sold under the brand name of Neurontin. It's supposed to be an anticonvulsant medication used to treat partial seizures, neuropathic pain, hot flashes, and restless legs. It's recommended as one of a number of first-line medications for neuropathic pain caused by diabetic neuropathy, post-herpetic neuralgia. And here's the kicker. About 15% of those patients given gabapentin for diabetic neuropathy or post-herpetic neuralgia have a measurable benefit, 15%. And when I looked a little further, I look up the Cochrane reviews, Cochrane, an independent establishment so far. A 2017 Cochrane review found evidence of reduction in pain by 50% in 15% of people with post-herpetic neuralgia and diabetic neuropathy. So who wants to get rid of 50% of pain? I mean, maybe some people with horrible pain think 50% is a bonus, but seriously, that it's shocking that this medication is sold to people and it will help only 50%. And then you look at the side effects: sleepiness, dizziness, increased risk of suicide. That became a box warning by the FDA. Aggressive behavior, drug reactions, unclear if it's safe in pregnancy and breastfeeding. Don't use it with low kidney function, et cetera, et cetera. Now, here's what grabbed me in this little listing. It acts as like a calcium channel blocker. And what's the best calcium channel blocker? Magnesium. Case closed. More words on it. I was just completely enthralled with the information I was finding here. It was first approved in 1993. It became generic in 2004. 2017, it was the 11th most commonly prescribed medication with more than 46 million prescriptions. During the 1990s, Parke-Davis, a subsidiary of Pfizer, began using a number of illegal techniques to encourage physicians in the United States to use gabapentin for unapproved uses. They have paid out millions of dollars to settle lawsuits regarding these activities. So it turns out about 90% of usage is for off-label conditions, which means it really hasn't gone through double-blind placebo-controlled studies to show that it works even 15% of the time. Okay, on a site about whether or not gabapentin is addictive, because we've had a lot of people who've told us they just can't get off it. Gabapentin shares characteristics of addictive drugs in that it produces a withdrawal syndrome and certain psychoactive effects. It is used widely because supposedly it's less addictive than opioids. So when Neurontin was the new drug on the block, physicians believed they'd found a real breakthrough drug to help patients with all kinds of nerve pains. And as I said, the drug was said to have fewer side effects and drug interactions than opioids. And that meant doctors did not have to keep extensive records on prescribing this drug. Neurontin generated over $4 billion in sales per year. And then the trouble began. A whistleblower from the drug's manufacturer claimed the company was spinning data on the drug's effectiveness and using illegal means to promote its off-label use among doctors. When the dust settled from civil and criminal lawsuits, Pfizer paid out $572 million to claimants. As soon as Neurontin became a cheap drug available generically, Pfizer marketed a close cousin named Lyrica, Lyrica, which today generates $3 billion a day. So what we've got is a lot of concerns about gabapentin. And in the Magnesium Miracle, I highlighted a testimonial by a 40-year-old mother of four, who I'll call Susan, who emailed me about a strange tingling sensation she was having on the back of her head. It had already lasted 3 years. And I realized it was a combination of magnesium deficiency and yeast overgrowth because she'd had many courses of antibiotics. Instead of treating these conditions, doctors told her she had anxiety and gave her Ativan. Now, Ativan is supposed to be a short-term anti-anxiety drug, only to be used for a couple of weeks. After a year of taking Ativan, which did not help her scalp symptoms, she stopped it and went into severe withdrawal with heart palpitations, exhaustion, insomnia, dissociative feelings, and panic attacks. To me, they're all magnesium deficiency symptoms. She was admitted to a rehab clinic, put on Neurontin for the withdrawal symptoms. She found the Magnesium Miracle, took Remag, which helped her to get wean off Neurontin and get rid of the zombie-like feelings that she'd had with Neurontin. After 2 months on Remag, she was 75% better with her scalp tingling, and her Ativan withdrawal was much improved. Her sleep was improved. Her muscle pains were improved. But then I say what happened next is she developed viral Googleitis because she was desperate to get rid of the other 25%. I don't think she got in touch with me until after she Googled around, and here's what happens next. She didn't do any of these treatments, but a doctor said that she should fly to his clinic and he would treat her by manipulating her cranial bones. Another doctor said he'd give her Botox injections. Another doctor told her she may have a herpes viral infection in her occipital nerves and she should take an antiviral drug, acyclovir. And the lesson from this case is that you have to be patient when you're recovering from long-term magnesium deficiency. You develop magnesium deficiency often over decades, and you can't build up your magnesium stores overnight or even in 2 months. It took me 1.5 years before I got rid of all my symptoms, even though I was progressing and felt so much better. So it helped me realize I could just continue. So I told Susan when she got back to me about all her attempts to find other treatments that she should keep on her Remag, maybe increase it, make sure she was taking her Remite, her sea salted water, knuckle down and do her yeast-free diet and probiotics and natural fungals. And now we have our Flora Revive, which I wasn't able to offer her at the time. Now, this isn't over, folks. The next big neuropathy creator is sugar. Now, diabetes causes peripheral neuropathy that affects 50% of the older diabetic population. Diabetics have high levels of sugar. Even when you're in treatment, your body isn't able to handle the sugar. So it's almost a case closed. High levels of sugar cause neuropathy. And the information that I wrote about in, what book was this? Probably the Sugar Without the Icing. Yeah, my sugar book. In chapter 8, I talk about peripheral neuropathy. And I said, in doing research for Sugar Without the Icing, I read Sugar Crush by Dr. Richard Jacoby, Jacoby. I learned that sugar is constantly crushing our nerves. From his title, Sugar Crush, How to Reduce Inflammation, Reverse Nerve Damage, and Reclaim Your Good Health, we surmise that sugar inflames, irritates, and damages the peripheral nerves. So how did this get missed by allopathic medicine and alternative medicine as well? I mean, doctors say there's no cure for peripheral neuropathy and just prescribe the toxic drugs like gabapentin to give some measure of relief. Neuropathy, as I said, affects half of patients with diabetes, so it's huge, a huge problem. And what is the mechanism of injury? Now, this is fascinating. When there's too much glucose in the bloodstream that has not been shunted into the cells by insulin, the body must use other ways to remove the glucose. One is called the polyol pathway, polyol, P-O-L-Y-O-L pathway, a two-step process that converts glucose to fructose. On the way to fructose, sorbitol is produced. And that's really important because once sorbitol is in the cell, it's stuck there. It can't get out. So in the retina of the eye, in the kidneys, and then the nerves that are not dependent on insulin to allow glucose to enter cells, they can be flooded with glucose at times of high blood sugar. So, I mean, I can read the details a little bit, but you can get all these words in my book about sugar without the icing. So if the blood sugar is normal, this polyol pathway is not activated. If the blood sugar is high, then it is activated. Sorbitol accumulates, stays in the cells, attracts water into the cells, swells up, causes cell death, and then the surrounding microcirculation and nerves are damaged by these swellings. I even say in the text of the sugar book, it may be hard to imagine nerves swelling up with sorbitol, but nerves are made up of cells, and these nerve cells are wide open to glucose, which then morphs into sorbitol. Sorbitol molecules are unable to move across cell membranes. They get stuck inside the nerve cells. Water is pulled into the cells by sorbitol, and the nerves swell, causing nerve compression and numbness and tingling and burning pain, aka neuropathy. Sorbitol swollen nerves get less oxygen, less nutrients, gradually stop conducting effectively, and start becoming symptomatic. Okay, and then I go on to just stating the analysis of nerve damage and scarring that occurs from sugar. You can read that in the book. It's kind of a repetition of what I just read. And what's the treatment? Avoid sugar. I mean, I love my sugar, but periodically I just don't have it for a little while, just to see how I feel and see if I'm causing any problems by eating my berries and heavy whipping cream every day. Dr. Jacoby himself recommends a ketogenic diet, which is a great way to eliminate sugar and carbs. He even says sugar is the problem, fat is the answer. Because sugar is a problem, he's also leery about too much fruit, And I do recommend people have done for years that people with yeast overgrowth only eat about 2 pieces of fruit a day. Jacoby urges people to read labels and not get seduced by words like natural or sugar-free. Sugar-free products are aspartame, and that is an agent that can cause neuropathy. I think there's just one more testimonial, and then I can go to the questions, but I'll do this testimonial and then go to Ginny and see if she has input. So this is about a testimonial on a hereditary neurological disease called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. It's one of the most common inherited neurological disorders affecting approximately 1 in 2,500 people in the United States. The neuropathy of Charcot-Marie-Tooth affects both motor and sensory nerves. Motor nerves that control voluntary muscle activity, such as speaking, walking, breathing, and swallowing, will deteriorate. Damage to the sensory nerves causes pain that can range from mild to severe. So a customer of ours said, a friend of mine, age 42, was diagnosed with Charcot-Marie-Tooth. She was told it was all downhill and that she would keep losing feeling in her limbs until she could no longer walk without foot and leg braces and would eventually end up in a wheelchair. The doctor said she should just enjoy her life while she can. Thankfully, she had the good sense to talk to me, and we immediately ordered Remag, Remite, and the old vitamin D we used to recommend. I'm so happy to report that she's walking properly again. She feels amazing and all her symptoms are gone. She says she feels like all her body parts are now connected. So that, except for the 6 questions we have from our listeners about this topic. And Ginny, do you have any input or questions from chat before I do the blog questions?
Yeah, okay, first of all, that was amazing. Thank you. And I love the whole rundown on gabapentin. That was awesome. And I think it's going to be so beneficial for our audience because a lot of them have intermittently been exposed to or use it or may have friends or family that use it. And yeah, so that's just great. Now, I want to ask you a question about the sugar. Of course, I always tease you because I love sugar too. But I do want to ask, what do you think is a reasonable amount of sugar? I mean, I know you do your berries and whipping cream and stuff. Do you have it broken down in grams? I remember you used to say that there were how much magnesium it took to break down a teaspoon of sugar and that kind of thing. Do you have any kind of baseline recommendation?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Ginny. I don't specifically, but what I would say, we do have people taking their whole C reset, and soon we'll have our vitamin C reset, which is higher amounts of ascorbic acid. What Bob and I used to do when we'd have our parties with our foster kids, we'd have a table with all the sugar stuff on it. And on the table, we'd have a big bottle of vitamin C. And vitamin C helps metabolize sugar. So I would say take an antidote, but also just the 2 pieces of fruit a day is enough fruit sugar. If you have a dessert, make sure you take vitamin C after it. I think that's the way I kind of handle it. I don't have that many desserts, but I do have my berries and cream, as I said, and I am taking ascorbic acid throughout the day. I'm taking about 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day just to test that out, Ginny, and see if it makes me feel better. So I think it's metabolizing the sugar from my berry dessert.
Now, are you taking that through whole C, Carolyn? So you're taking quite a bit of whole C?
No, that would be swallowing too many pills because our whole C is only 250 milligrams per capsule. So I'm taking a capsule with 1,000 milligrams. But I'm ready to, well, when we did our test run of the Whole C Reset, it's a berry flavored ascorbic acid powder. So when we get that, it's 2,000 milligrams a dose. So I'll probably be taking 2 doses a day and use it in my mineral water as a flavoring.
Now, Carolyn,
So
you're not on the radio telling our audience and all the listeners around the world about our vitamin C reset product that we promised we were never going to talk about products on the radio before. Are you?
I am.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Hey, I put it in the webinar on Thursday. It's out. The word is
Okay.
out.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
Very
sorry.
good.
I just finished the label today, right? So the label is on its way. It's little gnomes in the factory are stirring it up as we talk. I'm very excited. I want to talk about it.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be great. And to have a berry flavor, it's kind of just a little bit fizzy, kind of fun that way. And the kids are going to love it and everybody's going to love it. It tastes so good. And it's
Right.
going to be a great product. Yeah, lots of fun.
Well, the fizziness, Jenny, what our incredible, what do we call it? I don't know if he's a chemist. He's a food. Well, what's Marvin? What's his title?
He's a formulator and he is a food scientist. Yes.
Well, what we wanted to work with potassium more. So he actually, for the fizzy bits, he put in a potassium bicarb, which will give us 400 milligrams of potassium in a dose of the Whole C Reset. So we'll have
wait, not Whole C Reset, vitamin C. Yep, there you go.
C Reset. Oh yeah, you have to correct me. There's so much going on. So in our vitamin C Reset, we'll have 400 milligrams of potassium just by happenstance. We'll have our RNA powder, which is our catalyst. We will have 2,000 milligrams of ascorbic acid, and we will have natural bioflavins as well, because we put in some of our Vita berry mix. So it's going to be awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so let's take a few questions off the chat line. And of course, we've got people chatting with us at YouTube, which we're happy. You can join the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. You can subscribe to their page and you'll get a notification about Carolyn's show coming on live. We've got our podcasting back in order, so you should be picking up all our current episodes through iTunes and our podcasting software. We're on a lot of different podcasting networks now, if you want to make sure that uploads to your phone as well. And then we've got our Dream Vision 7 live chat line as well. So there's so many ways for you to communicate with us. We're very excited about it. So anyway, Carolyn, let me say, here's a couple questions. One person just wanting to know, what about magnesium? Now we know about Remag, that it's very pure. And we know that it's, not having any fillers or anything like that. What about pills and powders? How are people defeating the purpose of supplementing with magnesium if they're using pills and powders that have fillers and that kind of thing?
Well, it takes longer to break down, but unless it's a Remag formula, so that when it breaks down and it dissolves in the blood and it's a stabilized ion, that makes it difficult for the cells to absorb it. If you have a magnesium oxide pill, it takes its time breaking down and then it's only 4% absorbed. So I think the bottom line will always be, unless that pill, powder, or capsule is Remag, it's still not going to be absorbed as a stable ion. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. Perfect answer. Okay, now this is veering a little bit off the magnesium and nerve pain and opening up a different topic, Carolyn, about the thyroid. Do you want to finish the Q&A on magnesium and nerve pain, or do you want to take this question on Hashimoto's?
No, let me run through the 6 questions we've developed already, and I can do that up to the top of the hour. Okay, Jenny?
Sounds wonderful.
Someone asks, what do you know about magnesium and the vagus nerve? I've had a hoarse voice on and off for several years. GI and ENT doctors find nothing wrong. Seems to be worsening. Any thoughts? Of course, I have thoughts on everything. And what I would say about this is in the Magnesium Miracle book, I have a section about the vasovagal business, the vagus nerve, and how it affects the heart, actually. But I would just go right back to not being distracted by the vagus nerve, just the hoarseness. A person who has trouble swallowing pills or chokes on foods, or has quote globus hystericus, where the voice box kind of swells and goes into muscle spasm. I say a hoarse voice is related to muscle spasming and ergo magnesium deficiency. And taking the Remag will tell you whether or not that's the diagnosis. So go ahead and take Remag. Next one, love your products. I've been taking them for a few years. I buy them to give to people I care about. My brother suffers from polycythemia vera due to a gene mutation, and that's a condition of the red blood cells. It makes too many red blood cells. He's 61 healthy, but his biggest problem is itching when he gets wet. It's not like a rash, so I'm guessing it's a nerve thing. Drives him crazy. Could Remag and Remite possibly help? I'd love to know what Dr. Dean thinks. Thank you so much. And that's from Lisa. Okay, a classic symptom of polycythemia vera is itching. It's a classic symptom. And particularly after exposure to warm water, taking a bath or a shower. And it may be due to abnormal histamine release or prostaglandin production. Such itching is presently in approximately 40% of patients. Okay, so what's happening there is these extra red blood cells that are being made have to be broken down. And when they break down, the histamine is released either from the red blood cells, or the toxicity of having so much breakdown is causing inflammation and histamine release, and thus itching. Remag is an antihistamine, and Remag is for inflammation. Remag is also for anxiety. And Remite will help too. So that's going to be awesome to help him with his itching. And I would get the Remag lotion as well after a bath or a shower, just to rub in the Remag lotion. Boom. Another question. I've been having a hard time getting started on Remag, and she's saying she gets leg cramps, pain, and restless legs after a quarter teaspoon. She didn't do the Remag because we're supposed to wait for a week. Diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 1986, muscle and joint pain have been predominant. Tried to manage symptoms. Okay, so what have I said about fibromyalgia? I do have a webinar on it. I do talk about it in my Remite book and in Total Body Meltdown. So I'm saying that you're probably too toxic to detox. Remag is creating detoxification pathway stimulation. I would go to my yeast book and start bentonite and psyllium to pull out toxins, then Pico Silver and Flora Revive to treat the yeast and really lower the yeast level in the body, so that then you can start Remag in a few weeks. You can start Remite right away. You can put sea salt in your water right away, but that's the way I would personally treat myself. Lori is asking, asking about sciatic pain in her right leg, difficulty walking. She also has low back and upper back pain, foggy memory, can suffer from depression. Which one of our products would be helpful? Now, there's not going to be one product. It's not like our products are drugs that suppress symptoms. What our products do is help heal the body, the structure and function of the body. Now, sciatic nerve pain can be from deep muscle spasms trapping the sciatic nerve, or from misalignment or trauma. Personally, I'd be using the EGOSCU tower, EGOSCUE tower, for spinal alignment. Maybe you've already done chiropractic. I'd find a chiropractor or a myofascial massage person or an EGOSCU person. And also, of course, be taking saturation amounts of Remag and Remite and Realign. Trigeminal nerve pain is the question here from Susan. I have trigeminal neuralgia on one side of my face. Some improvement with physical therapy, but still quite painful, actually extremely painful. I take 1 teaspoon of Remag, 1 teaspoon of Remite. Is there anything else I could do? Well, you can take more Remag. I mean, it could be up to 3 teaspoons. Get Remag lotion, apply it to the area. And if you have no mercury amalgams in your mouth, hold the Remag in your mouth on the affected side. Actually use Pico Silver. What you can do is put half a teaspoon of Remag and an ounce of water and a teaspoon of Pico Silver and hold that in your mouth. If you have mercury in the mouth, in dental fillings, can actually aggravate trigeminal nerve pain, and I would personally find a dentist who would help take that out. Last one, Lana has nerve pain that feels like someone is sticking needles into her head. Random, varying in intensity daily for over a decade, countless tests, nothing shows up. But because the pain is so real, my doctor wants me to put on, guess what, Ginny? Gabapentin. Would you try this if you were me? No. So, Lana, listen to what I said about what Susan went through with her scalp neuritis. And personally, I would be doing the Remag, Remite, Realign, detoxifying with Realign, and the Remag is an anti-inflammatory because those symptoms are quite likely related to magnesium deficiency. You're not taking Remag as a treatment for pain and inflammation as much as you're taking it to overcome magnesium deficiency. And I rest my case, Ginny.
Okay, outstanding execution. Dr. Dean is on it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now we've got questions on the chat. We have raised phone calls, and we've got to take a station break. So we're just going to take a few minutes. Let me just tell you that CG, we're going to get back to you. Area code 248, we're going to get to you. Area code 719, we're going to get to you, and we'll get to everybody else who has a question or comment. So again, short break, and we're going to be right back, and we're going to get to everybody who's been patiently waiting. You're listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio, uniting humankind with universal love and uniting the rest of the world with Dr. Dean's wisdom. We're so happy to have you back. And we've got questions piling up and phone callers. Carolyn, let me stay centered on the topic that we were talking about last hour, which is this nerve pain, and such a big issue for so many people. CG here on the chat line, one of our new listeners asking now, saying, I have many autoimmune diseases, including RA. I also have fibromyalgia. This year, I started to have bad neuralgia in my feet and lower legs. I'm on Cymbalta, Wellbutrin, and gabapentin. I was just told to take more GABA. I have been taking your products for a couple years now. Please help. I had the first of both of my knees replaced, and the nerve pain in my legs has been bad. So she's telling me she's taking 2 teaspoons of Remag, a teaspoon of Remite, and a teaspoon of Pico Silver, and she does have Realign on hand.
Well, it's pretty complex being on all the meds. So I think the best thing for CG is to go through our customer service. We'll get our tier 2 questions and get all the details. It may be going on the yeast management protocol with some more Pico Silver, with the Flora Revive, a little more Remag. Being on the meds will use up some of the magnesium. So it's just a matter of fine tuning. So we'll help you out through customer service.
Okay, very good. All right. Let's ask these questions from the previous hour too. David Martinez, Carolyn, wanted to know, any thoughts on Hashimoto's, Dr. Dean? Is it possible to manage it without thyroxine? And would you consider any TSH above 3 to be high? I don't tolerate Synthyroid or the extracts. I love your show and your book. You have already changed my life. You are truly a miracle. Greetings from Germany, David says.
Well, in my book, what's the thyroid book called, Jenny? I forgot.
No, it's Reset the Thyroid. Yep, it's for the thyroid. Yep.
Okay. Right, David. In the book, I do talk about Hashimoto's, and that our Remite at 1.5, maybe 2 teaspoons can be very helpful for supporting hormone production, thyroid hormone production. I got off my Thyroid on it. So you can read about it there. We've had some great success with customers on the chat. Maybe people will chat in their experience with the Remite. And TSH, yes, we say that anything above 2 can be hypothyroid. And the Hashimoto's part, that's an inflammation of the thyroid, and that can be from fluoride in the water. It can be from virus. It can be from yeast overgrowth. So in the book, I go over all that. Some of the big Hashimoto writers, they go on about their journey with Hashimoto's. I do talk about one of the writers in the book. All her symptoms were a increasing magnesium deficiency until finally her thyroid collapsed. So it's quite fascinating that every organ in the body needs building blocks. And that's what we're doing here. It's just talking about the building blocks for every organ in the body by covering you with sea salt, Remag, and Remite. And why we do a lot of Remag compared to the other minerals is that magnesium is necessary for 80% of known metabolic functions. So we have to have a lot of magnesium. Right, Jenny?
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely agree. And also you can't mess up with magnesium. I mean, every single cell in your body just loves it. It's needed for every single cell in your body. I mean, it's just
right.
It's so essential.
And quote, if it's too much, you'll get the laxative effect, even with Remag. After you're saturated, not in the beginning. In the beginning, if you get the laxative effect, that diarrhea is most often the body trying to detoxify, and you have to just go slowly, balance that fine edge between getting benefits from the magnesium as you rev up all those enzyme processes and doing too much detoxification, which is, causing your body to feel irritated.
Very good. Very good. All right, let's go to the phones. Again, the phone number here is on all of our correspondence. It's in our the chat line numbers. It's on your screen. It's 646-558-8656. And that ID number that you need to get in on the call is also there for you. It's at 8836953587. And then once you get in there, you just hit *9 on your keypad. *9 will raise your hand in the studio and make it blue and let me know that you have a question or comment, and we will put you on the phone in the order that the calls were received. And we will call out your phone number first by its prefix, for example, area code 248, and I will unmute your phone, area code 248, and then you can announce yourself by giving us your name and then letting your question rip. Tater Chip.
Yes, my name is Denise.
Hey, Denise.
How are you?
Go ahead, Denise.
My question is that I finally got all of your products. I mean, everything. So I'm ready. I got off base, and I stopped, and boy, I could tell the difference. So I have everything. I'm ready to start this program. I want to do the keto that you said, but if you have atrial fib and you're like 24/7 in there and you have the shortness of breath, is it all right to do that? And I'm taking all of your products.
Jenny researched the keto site a lot. They do talk about the heart and the ketogenic diet, don't they, Jenny? Jenny's busy
Yes,
multitasking.
I'm sorry. No, yes, absolutely. It's very, very beneficial. Very beneficial.
Okay. Wonderful.
Right. Because I think what you're doing, Denise, when you're on the keto diet is it makes sure that you're not having any sugars or even any carbs. And it can be the sugars that will stimulate the palpitations in that. When you have a serving of dessert, your blood sugar will go high.
Right.
And that can actually speed up the heart a bit.
Okay.
But then the worst part is after, as the body tries to get rid of that huge amount of sugar, you can plummet and your blood sugar goes low. Okay. And then that's when your adrenaline comes in, because you need blood sugar to your head, or you get dizzy. Low blood sugar will cause your heart to palpitate even if you're not subject to atrial fibrillation. So you see what I'm saying?
Right.
It will allow your blood sugar to be so nice and stable. It won't go up and it won't go down, and that's going to be very helpful.
Well, I thank you very much, because you made me feel very good. For the last week, I was feeling down and out because I'm still trying to do my walk, and just trying to do 1.5 minutes is terrible, and I have to keep stopping. And you said, well, you have to be on it for a while. And I said, that's what I needed to hear, because I was impatient. If I didn't see anything, I was just getting frustrated. So now my mind is, take your time, use her building blocks, be consistent, and do it once and for all, and don't get off.
Right, just do it. Yeah, I mean, Denise, what I've noticed over the decades is that, people may get like 10, 15, 20% better, but they don't feel it. It's like, I know you're getting better, because if you're taking some of the Remag, it's got to be doing something. So I'm saying you're getting better. I can say that, with the firm resolve, and you just don't notice it yet. It's not until people get like 50 and 60% better that they'll even admit it. So that's why we're here on the show. We have customer service, and we're constantly going to tell you, we got your back.
Oh, I appreciate it. I really do. I really love the products because when I was just only doing the magnesium, I said, "Oh, after a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing something here." And then I just stopped, and I said, "No more. This is it. This is it. It's either now or never." So I want to come back and give a praise report. At least I think they say give it 90 days, and after 90 days, give it another 6 months, and another until you get to where you feel you really see a difference.
Sure, that's right, and that's wonderful. We really appreciate you calling in because just think of how many other people are kind of in the same boat. And when people fall off the wagon, I just say, "Oh, you just did an experiment. You just experiment without them, and then you saw how much better you feel with them. That's all. I just did an experiment. Okay,
Right.
Don't beat yourself up."
Okay, I appreciate this, and you guys all be blessed now.
Well, we are. Thank you, Denise.
Thank
Big
you.
hug. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, out to 719. 719, you're on the line with Dr. Carolyn Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
My name is Pamela, and I have a comment and question, I guess. When I talked to you last week, you told me to spread my magnesium out by putting it in a large bottle and sipping on it all day, and that has, I believe, helped my diarrhea. It's not gone yet, but it's getting better, and I think that the lotion on my legs is helping a lot also. But now that I've gotten rid of the clamping in my legs, I'm getting more jerking in the legs. Is that also magnesium deficiency or not?
Well, it could be, Pamela. I mean, it's like the body has to wake up. The magnesium balancing out the calcium in the body kind of relaxes things, and it may be just you're going through that phase of waking up those muscles that have been kind of numb and asleep for a long time. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Should I maybe do more of the lotion, or?
I would definitely. If you've already had some benefit, then to me, yeah, it can mean that the body just wants more. Give me more, Pamela. Stop holding back. I want more.
Okay. All right.
Now, Pamela, are you just on the Remag, or have you started your Remite yet?
Oh, yeah. I've been on the Remag for probably a couple of years, maybe a little more. The Remite's not as long. And I don't do the full amount yet on the Remite. I just can't tolerate the taste, so I cut back a little bit recently.
Yeah, I know. It's the iodine part of the Remite, but when we get our vitamin C powder in, then that'll make it all nice and tasty. So you can look forward to that.
Well, I did just start the whole C reset. I just got that.
Oh, good. Oh, good for you.
And I did start on the psyllium that you recommended last week.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay, good, good.
I don't know for sure, but I just have a feeling that it is helping already. I started out slow with it. I never do full dosages of anything to start with. So
no, that's right.
I'm really happy. I think this is going to work for me.
Well, that's great. Yes, you had another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, you told me to talk to customer support and talk to Julie, and I tried to get to them today, and I couldn't. I don't know if I've got the wrong number or what, or am I supposed to just leave a message and they call me back?
Oh, yeah, just leave a message. I mean, we have about a dozen people in customer service, so you're not going to just call in and get get one person. So just leave a message and Julie will get, or somebody will get back to you. Okay.
Okay. All right. That's great. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thank you for calling back. I really like to hear people follow up. That's very helpful for everybody.
Well, I like to do that, so I will do it.
Okay. Thanks, Pamela. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Okay, very good. Again, the phone number 646-558-8656. And then you can see the ID number for the call, 8836953587 on the screen. It's in our email. It's on our Facebook page. It's in our YouTube. And you can use that access number to get in, as these lovely people have been. And then once you do, hit star nine on your keypad. That will raise your hand and give me a little blue waving hand here so I can tell you when to talk to Dr. Dean, and I'll put you on the line with her. You can also use the chat line as CG has done this evening, and David and many others on our YouTube channel. We're very available to take the information from you and get to share the information, share your conversation with Dr. Dean and the things that concern you. Carolyn, you had something you want to say?
Right.
I'm not used to that. I'm like, what was it? Go ahead.
I just sent a chat to Ginny. That's why she sort of slowed down a second there. I made her multitask. Yes. I wanted to say the following. I did not have a COVID update, too much else going on, but in the break at the top of the hour, I checked my email, and from Medscape, there was this big article. It says, chronic fatigue may be long-term effect of COVID-19. Now, I've been dealing with chronic fatigue syndrome for decades. I was one of the first people who was working with immunologists up in Toronto. They had, our medical body attacked me because I was busy doing chronic fatigue and AIDS research. And anyway, that's a whole long other story. But chronic fatigue is a reaction to flu. It can drag on your symptoms as the population gets more ill, as the population develops yeast overgrowth. There will be chronic fatigue. And I do find it, I think it's great that they're realizing, as this article says, a large number of people who contract the coronavirus don't fully recover in a few weeks, and many of them are experiencing chronic fatigue. More than a third of those who have tested positive for COVID-19 and have symptoms don't feel like they're back to normal even weeks later, according to a new CDC report. Tens of thousands of people have joined online support groups on social media, private chat channels, et cetera, where they can talk about their symptoms. Several lawmakers are paying attention to it. They've created a bill, just like anything else. They're throwing money at it, but they're not going to be looking at the right things, which is nutrients. But they do say COVID-19 gives us an unprecedented opportunity to advance our understanding of post-viral disease. This could result in a long-standing public health disaster, leaving in its wake untold numbers of new sufferers of a condition that feels like a living death for those of us afflicted, says one of the researchers who's also a sufferer. Now, as I said, I've been working with this for decades. In the Future Health Now encyclopedia, I have a whole section called post-viral syndrome and what to do about it. I have a friend on island here who had it. I didn't even realize she had COVID, or she tested negative, but she had all the symptoms. And she came to me still exhausted, going through ups and downs. So I put her on all our products. But the one thing that was really important is I asked, do you have exposure to mold in your living environment? And she said, oh my gosh, yes, I do. So I had her get an ozone generator, as I talk about in one of my blogs. You can Google, I think it's called More About Black Mold. Put in black mold in my name, and an ozone generator will clear out the mold in your environment that you could be constantly inhaling. Put her on a yeast detox, and like I said, pretty much all the products, and she's out on her paddleboard now. So we know about post influenza chronic fatigue. We know that you have to support the structure and function of your body. We know that anyone who had COVID, they were probably put on antibiotics. So they're going to have yeast overload. So if anyone has any friends or family that are suffering from post-COVID, just let them know what can be done. What do you think, Jenny?
Well, I think do what Dr. Dean says for sure. And yes, you've got an incredible amount of experience with it. And I think that's an outstanding idea, Carolyn.
Right. Yeah, it just struck me that they're flailing about now with this post-COVID stuff, and they don't have a clue. It's about the nutrients, and medicine is just so beholden to big pharma that they don't even think about nutrients. It's very frustrating. You have to tell every doctor you know about nutrients. You have to give them our information about getting our practitioner kit. We have to help people get their magnesium and their vitamin D and their vitamin C and their silver and their zinc. Those are the things that are going to bring us back and also continue to protect us as we go through waves of these chronic infections, because we have let our whole culture get very sick. We have let people get very sick, be very susceptible to getting infections, and then they pass on the infections. I mean, that's what's happening. If we had a healthy young population, as they're talking about in various countries in Africa that aren't suffering from this condition, the average age is under 20. I mean, people do live older, but there are a lot more young people. So when the average age of the population is so young, they're not getting the disease. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox for a minute, and we'll continue on. Go ahead, Ginny.
Okay. Well, it's a good soapbox to be on. I mean, clearly, when it's understood that nutrition and nutrients are at the basis of this, I mean, even mainstream media producing, and promoting vitamin D and vitamin C studies to a certain degree, at least mentioning it. Of course, Trump bringing up the zinc. But yeah, the long-term health of our country is, again, another issue. So very good soapbox to be on, Carolyn, and certainly something you're very passionate about. So no problem. Okay, let's go back to our phone calls. We're going to go to area code 731. 731, you're on the line with Dr. Dean. Scratchy scratch. Yes, hello.
Priscilla again.
Hi, Priscilla. What have you got for us today?
What do you know about retracing?
What's it called? Retracing?
Retracing, or like as you get better, my body hits this or this, things that I've had in days gone by. Like today, the entire side of my mouth hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had hurt several years back when they pulled a tooth.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's just an illustration. What do you know about that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, when I did my naturopathic studies, we definitely talked about that in the naturopathic principles. It talks about you heal from in to out and from present, to the past. You can go through things that get stuck in your body, and as your body gets stronger, you go back to those stuck bits and relive them and go through them. I mean, that would be something in a private practice. I would watch people go through that sort of thing. I haven't talked about it much on the show, or I don't know if perhaps in customer service people are telling our customer service staff about this, but yeah, it's a very real phenomenon. And the problem is, Priscilla, is that people, sort of are aware that they're healing and they can go through things and get stirred up, and not to run off to the doctor and get a drug to suppress that, because then it just pushes it back into the body.
Right, into the body. And it's like, we want the people to realize that's what's happening. Okay, we'll just stick it out. Do you have any coping suggestions?
Well, I do tell people, well, go to the doctor and find out to make sure it's not, for example, if someone has an AFib attack, you go to the hospital, and if you need a medication, you take it. I mean, this happened actually just this weekend with friends. The husband, he'd been out working in the yard the day before, sweated copiously, lifted too much stuff. So then the next day he had an AFib attack, but he didn't remember all the sweating and everything. He was just in fear that, I've got AFib. I've got a heart problem. And he also had some pain in his stomach. And so without knowing anything they'd gone through, I was just chatting with them on my iPhone. And I said, does he have any stomach symptoms? And yes, he did. And what, has he been sweating a lot? Oh, yes, he was. And when they were out of the hospital, and I talked to them on the phone, and went through all this, okay, then that's what caused it. So then his anxiety dropped, and he had just gone through something. But I never tell people to stay at home and tough it out. If it's severe symptoms, that's what the hospital is for. But just be careful about being scared that all of a sudden you have a heart condition, when it could be just a magnesium deficiency.
Right. Well, like today, several years back when they extracted that tooth, I'm anaphylactic reaction to local anesthesia. So the oral surgeon used Benadryl, liquid Benadryl, to numb the site. And it ulcerated my entire sinus cavity, and it ulcerated that side of my mouth.
Oh, my. Wow.
Anyway, we had kind of a round with that one. I mean, till we got it healed up, we thought we had it healed up. But today at about 2:30, my teeth, my face, that sinus cavity swelled up. It's puffy. And my teeth just ache.
Wow.
And I came home and I said to my sister, I said, I guess I'm retracing on that one. I said, my mouth tastes horrible.
Yeah.
She said, well, what about some Remag on your cheek? Some Remag, like Remag cream.
Yes.
And so I put that on, and the ache is almost gone away.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's like,
did
that fix it?
Well, most likely,
it helped it at least.
If the yucky taste that you mentioned, that was probably your body dumping the rest of that anesthetic was still stuck in there.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And because you did not take a drug to suppress it, then there's a good chance it's gone now.
Well, I did not take a drug. I've been swishing my mag water, my Remag and potassium and zinc water around in my mouth.
Right.
To help get rid of this horrible taste.
Right.
And then I put that Remag cream on the skin. Now, the swelling hasn't gone down yet, but it's like, okay, if the best thing to do is just keep right on going, why?
Right.
The same thing happened a few.
There are things you can do as well. I mean, if you have a neti pot and some saline and I would put in some Pico Silver and rinse out the sinuses.
Okay.
I think
I wondered if that would be good.
Yeah, Pico Silver, the way it helps stimulate stem cell production, it helps wound healing. It's pretty miraculous. I would do those things.
Okay. Because I don't have a neti pot, but I take a syringe and just gently irrigate my sinuses. And if I have a sinus infection, well, I'll do that.
Right.
And that makes it feel so much better.
Right. Well, it's a very good topic, Priscilla. Thank you for addressing it. I appreciate it.
A few weeks ago, when I was 9, I got 3 of my fingers in the meat grinder.
Ah.
Yes, I know. Anyway. But I've always had a catch in the knuckle of one of those fingers that was injured. I can bend that knuckle, but there was a catch in it. And I was at work, and all of a sudden that finger hurt like as if I'd hit it with a hammer. I was well, I didn't do anything. Whatever makes... And about an hour and a half or 2 hours later, I realized the pain was gone. And I bent that finger, and the catch was gone.
Oh my gosh! Look at you! My gosh, it's a new Priscilla every day. That's wonderful.
One of my friends said, "Well, see, I lost half of one of those 3 fingers," and one of my friends says, "What if it grows a new finger?" I said, "Stop."
No. What you say is, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, Priscilla.
Yeah.
Okay, you've 2 stories. You got your 2 stories in. I'm going to move on, okay?
Yes, indeed, yes.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thanks. Say hi to your sister. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, my gosh. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, Priscilla's a gas. She's going to become a permanent part of our radio show. We'll have to start paying her a salary pretty soon. Yeah, she's very fun. It's fun to have her call in. Okay, let's go on to area code 352. You're on the line with Dr. Dean. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Hi, this is Rhea, and I have called before, but tonight I just had to call again because 2 of the things that you mentioned are things I've been afflicted with over the years. And one of them is the polycythemia. But I have to go into this because all of a sudden I was diagnosed back in 1996. And I did the whole thing, every month I would get blood drawn and all that stuff. Well, about 2 years ago, my blood has just completely turned around, and now I'm being told that I'm anemic, which is making me very nervous because I heard a long time ago that in very few cases, polycythemia can go the other way, it can go into leukemia. So I'm kind of not feeling very good about that. And I didn't know if you had any. I was taking an iron from Life Extension, a very mild iron tablet, and they told me that I could up it by one because it's only like, I don't know, it's not very much iron. So do you have any? That's one of my things. And my other one is I have had this post-herpetic neuralgia from a case of shingles that I developed last December. And I called you about my shingles a long time ago. And now I can't seem to shake this tingling on my scalp. It's, you know, and I've heard some people say, well, you might have it for the rest of your life, but it's very debilitating because it's. Well,
when you were looking at the shingles before, did we have the Pico Silver? Did you take a Pico Silver?
I started taking it right away. And I'm taking all the other products, and lately I have upped the Pico Silver. No, I was taking a different kind of silver. I wasn't taking a Pico Silver, but for months now, I've been taking your Pico Silver, and now I've upped it to a good teaspoon twice a day, but I probably need more. I don't know.
Right. Well, what you should do, Rhea, is call into customer service, ask them for the Tier 2 questionnaire so that you can put all this down. It'll get sent to me, and then we'll go over this step by step because there's a better iron to take. But, you know, I'd like to know what your hemoglobin level is and your iron and your ferritin and all that. And we can't do that over the phone. I hear you. You're upset. You know, I hear you. So
in my voice too.
Yeah. So let's fine tune this. So email support@RNA Reset. Jenny or someone will see it, and you'll just type in. Carolyn said she wants the Tier 2 on me. Okay, Rhea?
Okay, I'll do that tomorrow. All right.
Good.
Thank you very much. Okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's why you have to talk with Dr. Dean. That's why you have to hear it straight from the doctor's mouth, from somebody who cares. All of her compassion just comes oozing through the radio, and that's what she wants. So very good, very good. That's what people need sometimes. And I want to say hello to our good friend Peter Johansson in Bodily, Scotland, 1:36 a.m. listening to Carolyn and I. Hello, Peter. Would you like to say some hello to your Scottish mate, Carolyn? Do they say mate in Scotland?
Mate, oh yeah, we do say. Well, we say mate in Newfoundland and in Scotland. So yes, Peter. All I know in Scottish is if you're not Scottish, you're crap. That's all I know. But we're going to be in Scotland in 2022.
Yes,
2022. We are going to Scotland to my mom's birthplace. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see Peter when we're over there.
Oh, that'd be fun. We'll see all of our customers. We've got great customers in Scotland, Ireland, the UK. We love all of our customers over in that beautiful part of the world. It's such a glorious part. We'll probably be there for a month, Carolyn, right? We'll go for a meeting that lasts 2 days and we'll tour around for a whole month.
Right. Well, it's so tiny over there. We could go to Serbia and visit with Chad and Kate. We could visit our Czech Republic distributors. We could go down to Italy, and we could just tour all over, do the grand tour.
Yes, well, it'll be the 2022 grand tour. Carolyn and Ginny and staff, because everybody on the staff is clamoring to go, and all of our doctor friends want to go, and goodness gracious, who knows? We'll have a whole entourage. Will Bob go with us, Carolyn?
I doubt it.
No, no, he's already shaking his head no.
He'll only go if it's about him.
Ah, very good. Well, it'll be a celebration of Carolyn. So in that case, We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're caught up with our callers. Again, if you're interested in talking to Dr. Dean this evening and sharing, don't be afraid. It's some people, you know, they say the number one thing people are afraid of is talking on a microphone. This isn't a microphone, it's a phone call. And when you get on the phone with Dr. Dean, all that kind of stuff goes away. But if you do have a sincere health concern or question, we'd love to talk to you tonight. Again, you've got the number on your screen, 646-558-8656. And then, of course, the ID number that we've talked about before. And so we'd love to hear from you tonight. We've got a few minutes left in the show before we have to wrap everything up. Hit *9 to raise your blue hand here in the studio, and then we'll put you on the phone with Dr. Dean. But right now we're clear, Carolyn. So what would you like to chitty chat about?
Okay, I've been holding on to some mailbag and testimonials. So here's the first one. I love Dr. Dean's book and just read it for the second time. I've ordered 2 more of her books, one for my amazing chiropractor and one for a friend who has many problems that I believe can be helped by educating himself. I use 3 of her supplements and I'm excited to have them available. My husband, daughter, and several of my friends have been sick recently, but I've managed to escape it. I credit it to building up my immune system with these products. I'm 73 and happy. So that's awesome. Here's a teaching case, and it does include Hashimoto's for the person that the gentleman that mentioned it earlier. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, IBS, and total body meltdown 2.5 years ago. I had a frozen shoulder a 1.5 years ago. Before I was diagnosed with my frozen shoulder, I had started feeling diffuse muscle and joint pain, especially in my shoulder area. So I chime in. I've already answered this person. According to Chinese medicine, the body will direct subclinical infections from the organs into the joints to protect the organs. Pico silver is the best agent for these symptoms, 2 or 3 teaspoons a day. She continues, I couldn't wear a sports bra because it hurt so badly. I continue to have pain, and it will move or occur simultaneously in different areas of my body, forearm, hip, knee, bottom of my foot. I wake up in the morning feeling very tired and dragging myself around. This seems to get worse in February. This seemed to get worse in February 2020. I have been very weak and my muscles in my arms appear atrophied. I was recently diagnosed with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. And so I answered, they tend to be related to Epstein-Barr virus and yeast overgrowth, those types of symptoms. And again, Pico Silver. And for the yeast overgrowth, it's the Pico Silver and the Flora Revive. I recently purchased, so then she tells in the story, she says she purchased a energy device to help with her pain. It's a PEMF. Now, of course, I've tried everything. So I had one of these devices, and it didn't do anything to me, but I probably didn't require it. So she said it does increase my energy and help reduce the pain. And I said it can help with inflammation, but it needs minerals in order to work. And this is very important. Any of these energy machines or even energy therapy, hands-on healing, but they need minerals to work because that's what pushes the energy around in the body is the electromagnetic energy of minerals. She continues, I've had 2 long episodes, 2 to 3 weeks of diarrhea in the last year. When the stools were tested, it showed a norovirus 1,000 times greater than what it should be. She said, my kids had rotavirus when they were babies. So I said, that's another subclinical infection. When I was working with AIDS and chronic fatigue patients in Manhattan in the early 90s, they all had levels of antibodies to most infections because the immune system was too weak to keep them under control. She continued, I take levothyroxine, 100 micrograms, and levothyronine, 5 micrograms. So I talked to her about Remite, teaspoon and a half, to support the thyroid hormone production. She says, due to continued thyroid fluctuations, I've been getting my thyroid checked every 6 to 8 weeks, and my thyroid is improving. Levothyroxine dose was decreased 2 times. Now, I think that's because she's on Remite. I don't know for sure. So then she said, when I started feeling worse, it was suggested I pursue bioenergetic healing. So the past 4 months, I've been doing this, as well as the energy machine I mentioned earlier, PEMF. I've noticed improvements in my bladder control, brain fog, and some improved energy. And I reiterated, energy medicine only works when you have enough minerals, sea salt, Remag, Remite, and Pico Silver. Pico Zinc will also help. I would also add Flora Revive along with Pico Silver and Remag to help balance yeast overgrowth. She mentioned something about her diet. I said she could keep her berries and dark chocolate. She said I take infoceuticals daily to help support my body. Now, these are a type of energetic remedy that infoceuticals are. They supposedly give the body energy. But I didn't say to her, well, if you've been taking them and you're not cured after 3 months, or not a lot better after 3 months, then they're probably not working. But I just said, again, the building blocks are the minerals, and realign with the bees. And she said, what am I missing? And I said, everything is noted above. So that's kind of the way I look at people with these chronic symptoms. Oh, sorry, it continues. It has been mentioned to me that I might have Epstein-Barr virus, but I don't know what I would do differently. Well, that's where I've already mentioned the Pico Silver, doing the Flora Revive, which is our yeast management, because people with Epstein-Barr tend to have yeast overgrowth. And this is a chronic fatigue overview here. Chronic fatigue, total body meltdown, thyroid problems, they're all mixed in together. She said she feels she's doing everything she can to support her body, but there are more things. And she says she has the brain fog, etc. Yes, she said, I watched your webinar on chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, and understand that yeast overgrowth isn't the underlying issue. I'm confused as to what I should do. Do I cut out all natural sugar, etc.? So that's where she should read the yeast book, Reset the Yeast Connection, and just get focused on her diet. Like somebody said earlier, Pamela, maybe, you just have to do it. Just do it. So anyway. Hey, it's not 58 minutes to the hour. I still have 5 minutes left. Will I continue, Ginny?
Of course. A small technical glitch. Yes, keep going, Carolyn.
There's always some cute little thing that happens, but we don't care. Okay. There's someone who's saying, I have been on pretty much all your products for the last year and a few months. I must say you saved my life, literally. Magnesium has calmed my neck spasms, calves, and feet. Actually, it has relaxed all my muscle tension. My blood pressure has lowered to 115/75. It was usually 140/85. I was never a sound sleeper and would have a difficult time falling asleep. And now I don't even remember getting into bed at night. I sleep like a baby for 8 to 9 hours. I thank the Lord every morning for you and your products. I also use the Remag cream at night as a hand lotion, and I love it. Remite keeps lowering my TSH numbers. They were at 8.6 and now down to 3.4. Also, I do believe Remite has helped me with the electrical feeling I constantly felt in my calves and feet that I no longer have. Realign is another favorite. My body can't process synthetic B12, so I'm very happy that you use the methylated B12. Such other goodies in Realign, too, that I love. The RNA drops are my go-to first thing when I'm awake. It helps with my depression and anxiety, and I feel very confident my cells are happy and rejuvenating daily. I call the drops my little slice of heaven. I've been off all anxiety meds for over a year now and give you all the credit. I feel much happier and healthier when I take my drops. I notice the difference on days I forget, which isn't often. It opens the window of light and I gain a different perspective of the day. How, I don't know, but I am a true believer that it works for me. I love the Pico Silvers to add to my Remag and Remite water to keep my immune system at optimal level, especially at this time. Pico Silver. This is amazing. How I love the Pico Silver. I use it daily and also use a bit in my dog's water daily. I also use silver to brush my dog's teeth and rub his gums. I can't say enough about your silver. It's amazing and has many uses I had no idea about until I read your email on the uses of Pico Silver. I know it has helped me when I have a cough from allergies or feel a sinus infection coming on. I just want you to know I'm eternally grateful to you and all you do. I will never stop these products because they have helped me feel normal and alive after 10 years. You came into my life as an angel, and I'm forever blessed and grateful to you. God's blessings to you. I love sharing with others how these products have helped me so others can also feel good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and one day hope to give you the biggest hug to thank you. This was from Sharon. Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. And I will now turn the last 2 minutes over to Ginny. Thank you, Ginny.
Yes, okay, wonderful. No, that was fantastic. We had a great show, lots of great callers. Thanks everybody for participation. Wonderful. Let me just say this too. If you've heard something and you have a question or a follow-up, please email questions, questions, at drcarolyndeanlive.com. Be sure to visit our website, drcarolyndeanlive.com. Be sure to subscribe, look at all of our content, get those free books downloaded, listen to the archives. You can word search your particular concern or health condition at the top. You'll see a whole archive of books, webinars, all kinds of resources that you can utilize in the time that we're on the break from the next show. We'll be back next Monday. Invite your friends and family to join us. We're anxious to get this good information out to as many people as possible. Thanks for being with us. And Carolyn, great show. Great show.
Yeah, it's a wonderful show. I really enjoy answering questions. So please, more questions. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, listeners.
Absolutely. Have a great week, everybody. See you next Monday.
You've been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.